Still no Russian collusion. Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller has yet to release any evidence of alleged Russian collusion. Crimes unrelated to Russia are being uncovered, though. President Donald Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, pleaded guilty to campaign finance violations, and the Trump campaign's former chairman, Paul Manafort, was found guilty on 8 counts related to tax and bank fraud. I recall arguing against the initial unfounded claims of foreign influence in 2016. The so-called evidence presented did not support Russian collusion at all. Many examples were simply business deals that are actually very typical among the wealthy class. Trading stocks, creating foundations, hiring cronies. These are things practiced by every oligarch on all sides of the aisle. You can cherry-pick names and nationalities, but there has never been any truly compelling evidence for Trump-Russia collusion, in particular when considering the full scope of crony capitalism. This entire dog and pony show has consisted of constantly moving goalposts on alleged collusion claims, but those goalposts are now converging toward my original prediction, which is that the wealthy class is full of criminals who are guilty of monetary fraud in one way or another. If you investigate long enough, you will find dirt on all of them. Selectively punishing a few for the blatant crimes that they all commit is not only hypocritical, but it sets a dangerous precedent, namely that it is okay to selectively enforce laws. Now, I did not vote for Trump, and I currently have no intention of ever voting for Trump. I do not believe he is completely innocent and squeaky clean. No one acquires that much wealth by being totally honest and ethical, after all. The issue I have is that we are being manipulated on a massive scale, with half-truths and flat-out lies. So far, nothing that federal government agencies have produced proves my initial assessment to be anything but true. They're all crooks. If the laws were unbiasedly applied across the aisle, then we would witness an undeniable upswell in the number of lobbyists and politicians rounded up and jailed. But that's not the case in our corrupt government. What we have instead is an established power structure which selectively punishes opponents while rewarding cronies. Donald Trump is merely a symptom of a very sick system, but he is not the cause. My criticism of the Russiagate investigation is not because I support Trump. I am not a Trump supporter. I am actually criticizing a broader problem. When I remove the personal bias, talking points, and platitudes to simply examine the facts of the situation, I see how a narrative is being pushed for a political agenda. This entire investigation began with confident claims of Russian collusion, yet nothing related to Russian collusion has been proven. All that's been uncovered is bank fraud and tax evasion. That's laughable. Most politicians, lobbyists, cronies in Washington, D.C. or on Wall Street are guilty of fraud. They are corrupt. If you put a special prosecutor on all of them, then you are going to find crimes and more corruption. But there's already an IRS. Why didn't they catch the tax fraud? There's already an OCC. Why didn't they catch the bank fraud? Why was it not until these people became associated with Donald Trump that they were reprimanded for any crime? That's the real question. I understand that some people believe that the idea is to prosecute people for other crimes and then offer them plea deals for revealing evidence in the collusion case. The reality is, this case could have and should have been handled by an IRS civil trial, rather than a fishing expedition, which is costing American taxpayers millions of dollars. This investigation into alleged treason and espionage is turning out to be nothing more than a really expensive IRS audit. It's not proving Russian collusion. It's proving that oligarchs are opportunistic liars and criminals. Well, I could have told you that to begin with. In our corrupt justice system, the prosecution of people like Manafort is the exception, not the rule. Most oligarchs go unpunished and continue exploiting the system as usual, while poor Americans are incarcerated at rates which exceed any other country in the world. We have a literal torturer running the CIA. but they want to put Cohen away for paying off a hooker? There's a war criminal as national security advisor, but they got Manafort for taxes? This system is completely nonsensical. Worst of all, and most dangerously, the Russian narrative is being used to stifle political dissent and ramp up internet censorship, which only further enables the government to monopolize public opinion. So what's the solution to all of this? Well, I don't think any wealthy person should be let off the hook for money laundering and fraud. They should all be held accountable. If you want to go after Trump, then by all means do it, but go after all of them. Enforce your laws justly. Don't just parrot empty platitudes and talking points to target an individual that you personally dislike. Thanks for listening. This is Estella Jordan.